welcome to our vlog. My name is Teacher Nika once again, and in this vlog we're going to talk about TPR introduction. So TPR is a very useful method when it comes to teaching. So let's find out more about it. Let's start. As I said, TPR introduction, or let's start with the content first. So TPR, we're going to talk about what is it, and why would you use TPR in class? In which situation can TPR be applied? The TPR examples, the 6 steps or outline of TPR, the TPR class procedures and examples, and of course, the TPR application principles. Now, let's start with what is TPR. TPR is a total physical response, which is a method of teaching language using physical movements to react to verbal inputs. So this is used to add, of course, the vocabulary or the phrases to the student's mind. TPR is a creative method so that your student, especially young learners, will be attracted to listen and to pay attention during the lesson. Let's find out more on how important and helpful TPR is. Let's start. Why did we use, or why do we need to use TPR? First thing is that TPR is used to implement, or easy to implement rather, and TPR requires no translation from your mother tongue or your first language. The teacher's content is understandable based on teacher's body language. For example, if you do the basic TPR, which is listening and look, listen, like that, can you see or can you hear me? Those actions doesn't need to be translated anymore to the student. If the student is Chinese, Japanese, or Korean, you don't need to translate it to their, let's say, mother tongue or their first language, which is as Chinese or Mandarin. You don't need to translate it like that. So you just need to do the action and say the English word so that the student can understand and also add vocabulary to them. The second one, it reduces pressure and stress. TPR does not require a spoken response. Therefore, it is not too stressful for the teacher and to the student. The pressure is very not that, let's say, very, let's say the pressure is not very high, in short. So you don't need to force yourself to create TPR, because if you're used or you feel comfortable on using this method, you can also actually use it anytime. Like for example, hand gesture, like this is a TPR. You can let your student speak and you first and then this, and you will have your TPR as smoothly as it is. Like you don't need to be let's say you don't need to pay attention to what action you should do, but you will just think on how to let's say make it creative, or the action will be creative to the student. At the same time, repetition is disguised. So when we say TPR allows teachers to have one drill language repeatedly, so we will not lose your students' interest. For example, you're telling your student about the actions or the verbal actions, like for example, walking, like that. This is a TPR. Since you cannot walk, you can just do this, a finger walking. Okay, so your student can understand it easily, and you can drill it repeatedly. And you can act, and the student will say, or the student will act, and you can say the word, like that. For example, sleeping. That is another drill. Next, long-term retention. Because this is a TPR and it is a physical action and not just sound and not just the meaning of the word, the student will also, let's say, be creative in mind on how they will, let's say, made the class interesting. For example, if you say the word and the student already know that you're doing TPR, let's say the word is jump, and the student will eventually jump in front of you. So that is his or her TPR, showing that he or she understands the word and the meaning of it. So that means it is a long-term retention. So from a previous teacher showing how to jump, the student will already do it in front of you. Next, applicable for ESL teachers. So any type of ESL teachers, even if you're let's say a virtual teacher teaching online, or you're a teacher teaching an actual student or in an actual classroom situation. So if you're using TPR, it is possible to use. You can use it while having your demo in an actual school or a classroom, or in a demo or class in an online. So that's how TPR is and how flexible it is. So in addition, by the way, to long-term retention, for example, based on my experience, I have a student before, his name is Rain. So he's a Chinese student, and we have usually TPR activities during the lesson. So for example, today's class we learned about, let's say, morning and evening. So we could say good morning, doing an action of a wake up. And if we say good night, doing an action of sleeping. And the student will also do it. The next day, if we have another book class the next day, we could do a review using those TPR. And the student will, of course, say the word or the vocabulary which is I'm doing. So that's how long-term retention is in terms of TPR. Next, in which situations can TPR be applied? So here it is. TPR is widely used for beginners. Like for example, my student Rain, he is actually still 3 years old. Maybe he's already 4 now because it was a year ago. So TPR is used for beginners like Rain and other students. You can use it not just in one part of the lesson, but the whole lesson. You can use it as warm up. As I said, me and Rain have always like activities of doing TPR at the end of the lesson, and the next day we could do it again as a review and as preview. So ahead of time, if there's a new vocabulary, for example, the new vocabulary is toys, okay, you can act like plane, teddy bear, like that, or a doll. That's how I TPR to the student if I don't use props. So the student must much likely to do actions instead of toys. So you can use TPR like those. So as preview, the new words that we're going to learn is teddy bear, plane, doll. Those are 3 toys. Okay. Now, as practice, you can also review your student using those vocabulary by letting your student guess what your action is. For example, you're doing this. What am I doing, Rain? That is teddy bear. So the student will say teddy bear. So that's a practice. And that practice you can do also as a warm up the next day. Okay? Next, TPR examples and verbs, or TPR example verbs. For example, TPR can be applied when teaching verbs such as watch, see, and look. You can say look, listen or hear, eat, drink or sleep, smile and cry, jump, hug, hit, and knock. So you can do a lot of actions. Okay? Next, all verbs that involves body movements can be taught with TPR. So as I said, these verbs like actions like waving, hello, this is a TPR. Okay? Or you can say come here, turn around. That is a TPR. And that involves body movements. Next, we have TPR examples of verb phrases. TPR can be applied teaching verb phrases or phrases such as drive the car, moving your hands like driving, hug the teddy bear, hug yourself, kiss a doll, and fly the plane. Kiss a doll, fly a plane. So those are let's say verb phrases. Make sure that you are using TPR creatively. Be creative as much as possible. Though verb phrases that involves materials or objects can be taught also with TPR. For example, showing your student pen. Okay? Pen. This is a pen. Like that. Showing a pen itself or moving your hand like writing. Pen or book. Moving your hands open and close as if you're opening a book. Okay, next we have 6 steps outline TPR method online. So we have script preparation as much as possible. If you have script, it is good so that you will have an outline on what to use or how to use your TPR. When should you input your TPR? Teaching demonstration, live action, written copy, oral repetition, and question and student demonstration. Let's start it one by one. Let's start with script preparation. As I said, also listening materials like this as given as a sentence. So script, this is we having open and close parenthesis yummy. This is when we use the action yummy. Okay, putting your fist or chest, move left and right, opening the door. Okay, opening the door. But if you say yummy, you can do this or do this for hungry. Okay, now that is teaching demonstration also or live action because you're doing an action already. Next, teaching demonstration and live action. So if you're hungry, draw a hand or put one hand in your tummy to draw a circle. If you don't have a tummy, you can use or you can show your tummy. Use your teddy bear and rub it here. Tummy, hungry, like that. Okay. Next, we have teacher repeats the sentence and demonstrate it 2 to 3 times. You can repeat it 2 to 3 times and your student will still understand and also still pay attention to your lesson. Next, teaching demonstration and live action again. Teacher repeats and yummy. Put your 2 hands before your mouth with open and close. Yummy. 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 Okay. Next, we have written and oral repetition for question. So you can have a written copy or your lesson material. You can show the word to the student and then ask the student to do the action. Or you can have an oral repetition saying or questioning the student about what am I doing, and the student will say the verb or the phrase. Next, student demonstration. This time your student will do the, let's say, the TPR. For example, teacher rates the students orderly and the student reacts. So you don't need to, let's say, give any sentences or let's say give any TPR as much as the student will do the action. For example, you will say, I am sleepy. So the student will do the action, I am sleepy. Like that. Next, teacher reads the sentence out of order and the students react. For example, how do we, let's say, what do I do when I wake up? So wash my face, brush my teeth, comb my hair. So you can say the words or the sentences like wash my face, brush my teeth, comb my hair. Again, wash my face. So the student will add brush my teeth, comb my hair, like that. So the student will do the action. Next, the student is required to finish a listening task. There are 4 pictures on the screen or so on, or there could be more than pictures. He or she is asked to listen to a video or order the pictures. For example, you're having a listening task. You can also apply TPR. Next, TPR application and notice. So when you're trying to use TPR, adapt teaching pace to students' pace of learning. So it is based, your teaching or your TPR is based on how or what level is your student is. So if he or she is the beginner, you will need to use a lot of TPR. Next, introduce words and sentences gradually and one after another. So you will need to introduce words or sentence one by one and make sure that your action is slow. For example, plane. Let's say teddy bear. So repeat it as much as possible 2 or 3 times so that student can remember it or retain it in his or her mind. Do next, repeat previous sentence before introducing next one. For example, you say, let's say Sally is sleepy. So that's the first sentence. Sally is sleepy. Okay. Now our next word will be Sally is hungry. Now, how will you make that? Sally is sleepy. Review again, and then Sally is hungry. Again, what's this? And then what's this? Like that. So you're having a preview of what the previous sentence is, or you need to review it to the student. So that would be all of our TPR information. If you have any questions, you can find me through my YouTube account, Teacher Nika, and you can check my Facebook account or Facebook page at Teacher Nika NP, and my Instagram, I will just put it below in our description box so that you can message me there also and check out my new videos from my Facebook. And in terms of the end of our today's lesson, in learning you will teach, and in teaching you will learn, from Phil Collins. So this quote is very helpful for teachers, especially when you're teaching TPR. We learn the TPR. What is TPR? We learn the action. At the same time, what we learn, we can teach towards the students. So thank you very much. That will be the end of our vlog, and hope to see you again next time. Bye, teachers. Bye bye. Thank you.